Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Michael Fortin. I'm the Director of Promotion for the Maine Tax Portal here at Maine Revenue Services. I'm joined by our panelist, Rachel Stetson, Principal Property Appraiser with the Property Tax Division. And it's my pleasure to be your MC for our webinar on Municipal Valuation Return for the new Maine Tax Portal that will be available on October 10th, 2023, which will mark the third rollout of the Maine Tax Portal. The portal is now open for most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and much more. You can visit the MTP information page at maine.gov/revenue/portal to learn when you can get started for your specific tax type. That address again is maine.gov/revenue/portal. Before Rachel gets started with her presentation, I have a few housekeeping items to review with everyone. First, the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen will not be used for today's session, although you will have many opportunities to ask questions. Today's webinar is designed to be interactive. Therefore, once Rachel begins her presentation, I will be enabling all of our attendees with the ability to unmute your microphones and talk with Rachel should you have any questions. Attendees who don't have a mic or who are simply more comfortable typing out your question can communicate with Rachel by using the Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And Rachel will answer as many questions as possible, although if we're unable to address your questions live, we will certainly follow up via email following the webinar. There may be times when you'd like Rachel to repeat a step that you've missed, or perhaps you're simply unable to watch the entire session. Therefore, it will be helpful to know that today's webinar will be recorded and can be viewed by anyone who's registered. There are no documents or presentation materials you'll need for today's webinar. Feel free to take notes, but know you can always rewatch the recorded material anytime you'd like to review it. Finally, we should be reminded there can be unexpected technical challenges, and we need to remember that Rachel is speaking to you live. Therefore, we appreciate your understanding and ask for your patience if we should experience any technical difficulties. That concludes all of our housekeeping items. One last point is that along with Rachel today, behind the scenes, we have Tabitha and Tyler helping us with the demonstration of the Maine Tax Portal, so we would like to thank them for their assistance. Rachel, let's get started.
All right, thank you, Mike. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this demonstration. As throughout the presentation, as Mike was saying, I'm going to be pausing for questions at certain points to give you all an opportunity to unmute and ask any questions you have. Before we start the demonstration, I wanted to say the information that we're entering is fictional, but it's made to be realistic. We're also going to be demonstrating in the testing environment, which means there might be some minor changes made before rollout happens in October. We're going to demonstrate a few things you can file on the Maine Tax Portal for property tax, as Mike was mentioning earlier. This will include the Certified Ratio Declaration, the Municipal Valuation Return, and the Deferred Homestead Municipal Report. So to start, we're going to log in. So we're going to go to revenue.maine.gov here to sign in. If you haven't already signed up for a logon, you would use the Create a Username link here on the main menu. The Maine Tax Portal integrates all the tax types administered by Maine Revenue Services into a single system. It will enable online filing for all tax types administered and significantly expand the online functions that facilitate the taxpayers' and practitioners' ability to conduct business electronically with Maine Revenue Services. The system will be implemented over a 4-year period in 4 rollouts, each of which will involve a subset of taxes and programs. The MVR and Deferred Homestead rollout date is October 10th, 2023. So we're going to log in, and we entered our username and password. So we'll click the login button here. And now we're going to need to enter our 2-step authentication information. The blue populate link here is a function only for the testing environment and won't be there in production. But for now, we'll use it because we're in the testing environment, and then we'll click confirm. Once you log in here, you can see all accounts you have access to on the summary screen. Every municipality will automatically have a municipal valuation return account and a deferred homestead reimbursement account. Even if you don't have any enrolled participants yet, we have the account available in case your municipality has some enrolled in the future. We recommend that each user has a unique username and password. There may also be some employees you would like to only have access to certain accounts. For example, if the assessor doesn't need access to the withholding account, you can set up a secondary logon that only has access to the accounts you grant them access to. To set up a secondary logon, we're going to go to the Manage My Profile link and the More tab. Then under the My Users panel, we're going to click the Manage Secondary Logons link. And then we're going to click the Add link to the right there. All right, then we're going to enter the required information here. You can see the red indicates a required field. You'll enter your username, the user's name, then your email address, and confirm the email address. And we're going to set the type of access as user for this person. And then we're going to click Next. Under the account access side, we're going to select None. And then we're going to filter by reimbursement. And then we're going to select the deferred homestead reimbursement account. And then we're going to filter by municipality, or muni. And we're going to select the municipal valuation return account. And you could do that for any account that you would want them to have access to. All right. Then when we select Submit, a pop-up will appear directing you to an email sent to the email address you provided for the secondary logon. In that email, there will be directions to complete the setup of the secondary logon, including selecting a password. You can repeat these steps for any other secondary logons you need, and we're just going to select OK for now. If you are a contracted assessor that files MVRs for multiple towns, you may want to set up a third-party logon instead. So you can access each municipality's MVR account from one login. If you want to use a third-party login, you'll need to create a username as well. As I said before, we recommend each individual user has their own username and password, and it's not recommended to share usernames or passwords. And each entity, whether a third-party filer or a municipality, can set up multiple users with the secondary logon function we just demonstrated. All right, so for now, we're going to log out of this account by selecting the person icon so we can request third-party access to this MVR account. So starting from the Create a Username link here, we're going to select the last option because we're an independent party working on behalf of the municipality. And then we're going to select Next. This next step is showing you all the information you'll need to request third-party access. So we're going to select Next right now. And we're going to enter the FEIN of the third party here. So the Federal Employer ID. And this information is for specifically the third party. If you're a sole proprietor, you could use your SSN here. We're going to enter the address as well. And once you've entered your address, you're going to need to verify the address at the bottom. And then you want to enter if your business has a different physical address. We're going to select No, and then Next. Here you'll need to fill out all the required information, including selecting a username, entering your email address, and then selecting if you'd like paperless delivery, which would be an email instead of physical mail. There are some notices that would have to be sent through the actual physical mail, though. Then you'll need to select a password. And then also a security question. Then you'll need to enter your phone number. And now we're going to select Next. On this step, you can verify that all your information you've entered is correct. And then before we select Submit here, I'd like to pause for any questions that anyone has. You can either type them in the Q&A or feel free to mute yourself and speak up if you have any questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions yet, but I'm just going to give a few seconds to allow people to find their microphone and unmute if they're looking for it. I know sometimes using Zoom, if you're not used to it, can be a bit tricky. All right. So I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to move on. But again, feel free to, type out any questions that you have, and we'll get to them at any time that we have a pause. Okay. All right, so we're going to select Submit, and then we entered our email address twice. And then we have our confirmation page. From here, we're going to log in using the username we just created for our third party. And Monty props. And here again, we'll need to enter the two-step verification for security. So we'll set it up using the add phone number, but you could use the email, or if you have the authentication app on your phone, you could use that as well. And we'll select Save. And then here on this step, as I said earlier, the blue populate button will not be there in production, and you would just enter the security code that is sent to you. All right. Now from here, we're going to set up the access request to the municipality we want to file for. So we're here on the summary page, and we're going to navigate to the Manage My Profile link again in the top right corner. And then we're going to go to the More tab. And then under the Access Management panel, now we're going to select the Request Third-Party Access. We have the fictitious FEIN of the municipality we want. So we're going to enter that here. And then we're going to select the Municipal Valuation Return account type. Then we're going to enter the account number. You can get all of this information from the town you're filing for once they log into their account. And now we're going to select Submit. Here we have a confirmation page. If you file for multiple municipalities, you can repeat these access request steps for any other municipality and accounts you need access to. All right, now that we've requested third-party access, we're going to jump back into the shoes of the municipality. So we're going to log out of this account using that same person icon again. Then we're going to log back into the municipality account. All right, so from the summary page here again, we're going to go to the Manage My Profile link. So if you work for a municipality and you need to approve the access, this is how you'll do it. We're going to go to the More tab again. And then from the Access Management panel, we're going to select the pending third-party requests. And here, as you can see, you can either grant or deny access to the third-party request. We're going to we're going to grant access to the request we just demonstrated for Monty property because we're expecting this request. And then we're going to select submit. Now the third-party user we granted access to will be able to see the MVR account on their summary page and have access to file. So from here, we're going to log out of the municipality account again, and then we're going to log back in as Monty property. Because we just want to give you an idea of what it will look like after you have access and how it would look when you are trying to file as a third party. I think it was Monty Prop is the username. There we go. Thanks, Tyler. All right, so here when you log in, you'll be prompted to select the customer you're working with. So you'll see the municipality we requested access to listed here, as well as any others that you have access to. So when you select the City of Augusta link here, we have the ability to view and file returns for the MVR account we requested access to. So I'd like to pause here again for any questions that you have. Feel free to unmute if you have a mic, or you can type any questions in the chat if you'd prefer. I know this is some, fairly basic steps, but I just want to make sure that since we do have a small, a fairly small amount of people, that you can ask any questions that you need. All right. All right, I saw. So someone just asked, is the approval as quick as you just demonstrated in production, or do you have to wait 1 to 2 days? And I believe those access requests do not require any job streams to run. So I believe it would be as soon as the person grants access, you should be able to have that available. The municipality does have to log in first, though, so that they can give you the information. But yes, it would be instant as long as they have approved the request. Okay. That was a good question. All right. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to type it in as we go along. And I'm going to continue from here. Okay. All right. So now that we've seen the access here, we're going to log out of Monty Properties account. And then we're going to log back into the municipality's account. All right, so now that we're logged back in, we're going to file the certified ratio declaration. But before you file, a letter will be sent to the municipality with the developed parcel ratio. So we're going to take a look at that letter first so you can see where to find letters. We're going to click on the More tab here on the summary page. And then in the Letters panel, you can see View Letters, Request Return Transcript. And we're going to select the View Letters link. And then we're going to select the Certified Ratio Declaration form letter. And here you can view the letter. On each letter sent from the system, there'll be a unique letter ID and a letter date at the top right corner. If you ever need to respond to a letter on the Maine tax portal, like a request for information or to pay a bill, etc., you'll need to use those two identifiers. All right, so we're going to go back to the main page. And then we're going to go to the summary page. All right, so from the MVR account panel, we're going to use the View and File Returns link. And then we're going to file the certified ratio declaration by selecting the File Now link by the tax year you're filing for. So we're going to do 2023. So we're clicking that File Now link. Your developed parcel ratio set by Maine Revenue Services will populate on the first step. And you can select option 1 or 2 from the drop-down menu. We're going to select option 2, which means we're going to declare a ratio higher than the developed parcel ratio. We're also going to declare a ratio higher than the 10% acceptable range. You can see that range listed in the instructions above, where it's the 81 and 99 there. We're going to use a ratio of 100 here instead. And then we're going to select next. So because we selected a ratio outside the accepted range, we're required to select a reason. We're going to select the second reason, a total revaluation will be implemented this year. And then we're going to select next. Again, because we selected a ratio outside the 10%, we're going to need to add an attachment to justify declaring the higher ratio. So we'll select the Add Attachment link. And then we're going to put a description for the justification as a sales ratio study. And then we're going to select our attachment. And you can also see that this is a required step. All right, then it will appear under attachments there. And now we're going to select next. All right, here we're going to add the total number of homesteads granted or estimated as 4,200. And then we're going to add the total value of homestead exemptions adjusted by the certified ratio. We're going to put 97 million here. If we selected a value higher than possible, an error would appear. So we're going to put 115,500,000. And you can see it says the exceeds possible exemption value. So we'll change it back to the 97 million. And then we're going to add the property tax rate in the mill form as 0.02275. And then we'll select next. All right, here you need to check the box to declare that the information you're entering is true, and then add your name twice to electronically sign the document and select Submit. All right, once signed, you'll come to the confirmation page where you can keep the confirmation number for your records. We're going to select the printable view button here. You can select this if you'd like to print and save a copy for your records. All the values you entered will appear on the printable version for you to keep for your records. However, please do not mail this version to Maine Revenue Services. This is just a copy for you, and we've already received your submission by this point. All right, now we're going to navigate back to the returns page. And this File Now row for the certified ratio declaration will go away after the one you just filed is processed in the nightly. You'll still be able to view the submission from the return screen and the View Submission link here. If the return is already processed, you can select the View Return link. If the return was filed on the Maine tax portal, you'll be able to view all the steps with the values you filed. However, if you filed any other way, like a paper form, you'll only be able to see that it was processed. All right, before we move on, I'd just like to take a minute and ask if you have any questions about the certified ratio declaration. I see there are a couple questions in here. All right, so one question was, should you round the value of the, I'm assuming that's homestead exemptions? And I'm actually going to bounce this question to Steve. I believe it can be an estimated value as well, but I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, an estimated value is fine, and it would be to the nearest dollar. We certainly don't need it to be to the decimal point.
cents. Yeah. All right. And then we have another question. What document is appropriate to attach if you're doing a full reval? And I'm going to send that over to Steve as well.
If you've contracted with a reval company, then the copy of the your contract with the company would be sufficient. And if you were doing it in-house, doing the reval, then we would need a copy of the sales ratio study with the new values applied to it.
All right, thank you, Steve, for those questions. And thank you guys for asking questions. If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to type them in or unmute. All right. All right, I'm going to move on for now. And again, just feel free to type in. Oh, sorry, got one. So the next question is, what should you send as proof if you're doing a property update due to sales? I believe that would be the sales ratio study, but I'll let Steve jump in.
You are absolutely correct, Rachel. It is the updated ratio study, and you want to use the previous year's ratio study and update the assessed values on that form to resubmit.
Thank you. All right, awesome. Okay, yeah, so as you get questions, you can type some more in. What other steps can be taken for using a higher ratio? Is there not an available reval possible? Oh, if there is not an available reval possible for a couple years.
Unless a reval is going to be implemented in the next year, or you have done a market adjustment to update your values, then you cannot request a higher ratio than the maximum of that 10% above the developed parcel ratio.
Yes, and we would be doing a review process as well. So if we saw that you were declaring a higher ratio, but it's not justified, then we would deny it as well. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on for now, but feel free to keep typing in some questions, and when we have another pause, we will answer those as well. All right, so we're back to the return screen here. So now we're going to file the MVR. Obviously, in a real life situation, you most likely wouldn't be filing them on the same day, but just for the purposes of the demonstration, we're going to. So we're going to select File Now on the 2023 tax year for the Municipal Valuation Return. So on the first step here, you can download the spreadsheet template of the MVR to fill out if you'd like to, and then you can download the instructions as well. So there's also an option of importing a filled out spreadsheet once you've done that. So we're going to import that filled out spreadsheet by selecting the button, and then we're going to choose the file that we need. It's important to remember that only the current template will be imported properly, so you don't want to use a previous version of the return. If you try to import using an older version, you'll get an error because the system isn't able to read it correctly. You can see that ours successfully imported because the municipality is listed. All right, so now we're going to select Next. Here you can add supporting documentation on the attachment step. If you are a third-party assessor, this should include the signature of the municipality's assessor or whoever is legally allowed to sign off on the MVR. We're going to skip this step for now. You can see on this step the values were imported. If you'd prefer, you could also fill out the values through each step, allowing the auto calculations to help you through the steps without importing. To edit values, you can select the pencil icon or the lines with the blue links. The order of the lines has been changed to accommodate the calculations, and there are also error checks on some of the steps to ensure all the necessary information is gathered and to avoid errors. So we're going to select the total taxable value of real estate link, and then we're going to remove the land value and select OK. You can see a red indicator has appeared showing that that field is required. And if we try to select Next, you get an error message and it tells you the actions needed. So there are quite a few fields that will have that. So we're going to click back in there and we're going to enter the land value back. And you can see the other values recalculated. Now we're going to select the total exempt value for all homestead exemptions link. And we're going to make a change to the total number of $25,000 exemptions, which will change the total value of $25,000 exemptions and the total exempt value. So when we decrease the total to 4,200, you can see the values of exemptions and the totals are automatically calculated for you. So we'll change it back so you can see that again. You can see the recalculated fields. And then we can select OK. We will be adding indicators to each step to let you know which page on the spreadsheet template corresponds with the step you're on. That's not on here yet. It's one of the minor changes that you'll see after rollout occurs. All right, so now we're going to select Next. One of the calculation rules we have set is on the tax rate. So if we changed the tax rate for commitment outside of the minimum and maximum range, you can see a message shows what's in error. And then when we change it back within the range, the error will go away. And you can see that the values corresponding with it have been recalculated. All right, so now we're going to select Next. Here you can see the enhanced Betty calculation. And then we're going to select Next. On here, in the rare event that you have a 6-month or 18-month commitment to change to a fiscal or a calendar year, you can select from the drop-down menu here. But we're going to stay on the 12-month commitment, which is typical. If you get to a point where you need to save and come back to this return, you can use the Save Draft button and then finish. You can select Finish Later. We're going to click through the remaining steps to show the imported values on each step. Of course, this is a very long return, and we just want to show, all the imported values here. Again, I'd like to point out that you do have the option to file without importing by entering all the values on each step. And again, to help avoid errors and try to cut back on any reconciliations later on, there are calculations and error checks. Our goal is to make this as easy as possible for you and to make it as helpful as possible. All right, so once we're done, here we're on the declaration page again. On this page, it's on every return that you'll file through the Maine tax portal. Once you select the declaration, you're going to need to sign electronically again. And what's unique about this return is that you need to also enter the date that the municipal assessor or the legally allowed person signed off on the MVR, which may or may not be the date that you are filing. Before we select submit, I'd like to pause again for any other questions that have come up. Feel free to type them in, or you can unmute if you'd like to. And I'll just pause for a few minutes if people are thinking about any questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions yet, but again, just feel free to type them in when they pop in your head, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Okay. All right, so now we're going to select submit. You'll have the confirmation code here again, and you can select the printable version if you'd like to save for your records. But again, please don't send in the printable version to Maine Revenue Services. If you'd submitted it electronically, that's all we need. We don't need a physical copy that you've mailed. Okay. If for some reason you need to edit the return before it's processed, you can select the withdraw link here. And then you can make any edits you need to. We do process these returns every night, so that window is pretty small. It would just be, the day that you'd submitted it. Okay. All right, so we're going to just show another function that we have on here. So from the summary page, we're going to go back to, we're going to select the view reimbursements link from the MVR account panel. So from here, you'll be able to see issued reimbursements, and you can sort and filter by the issued date and the reimbursement type. So we're going to select 2022 in the tax year start. And we're going to leave the tax year end and the reimbursement type blank for now. And we're just going to click the search button. So you can see we have a couple that have been issued. Our run date is pretending that we're in May, so we just have the homestead reimbursement, the first payment, and the Betty reimbursement. We just wanted to show some reimbursements issued. When there are multiple reimbursements, you can filter it so it just shows 1 year, and you can also filter for any reimbursement type. Okay. All right, we're going to go back to the summary page. And we're going to go over filing for the deferred homestead report. So we're going to click on Report State Deferred Homestead Tax link from the Deferred Homestead panel. This link is available all year to accommodate any commitment date. You can see on the first step here, some participants have already been pre-populated. Any participant that's actively enrolled in the program will appear here. When you click on each participant's name, you can fill in the tax amount to be deferred. We're going to enter $2,100 for this taxpayer. And you can also see the details for the participant have been pre-populated to verify using their address. So then when we click OK, it updates that value. If for any reason you need to omit a participant, you can select the X next to their name, and then yes. If you accidentally delete a row, you can select cancel here and then reopen the return, and the participants will repopulate. We're going to enter the rest of the values here. You want to make sure that you're only including participants that were included on the municipal list sent from Maine Revenue Services and that are designated on the commitment book as in the program. So we're just entering an assortment of tax amounts, and then we're going to select Next. Here you'll need to attach all the relevant property tax bills. So it's a required step because you need to show proof of the tax bills. So we'll add a description, and then we'll choose the file. Typically, you'd be adding a file for each participant, but just for the demonstration, we're going to add just one attachment. And then we'll select Next. Here's a summary page. It's detailing the total taxpayers and the total deferred amount. Then we'll select Next. And here you'll need to electronically sign the declaration again by checking the checkbox and entering your name twice. All right, and then we select Submit. All right, I was going to pause again for any questions, but I don't see any questions in there. If you have some questions, feel free to type them in and we'll get to them. Okay. All right, now we're back on the summary page. Now that we've gone over all the filing, we're going to demonstrate some other functions. So on the More tab here, you can find additional services available to you. On the Submissions tab, we can select Search Submissions to look at previously filed Maine Tax Portal submissions. You can see the submissions we just made are under the Pending tab here. And any previously Maine Tax Portal filed submissions would be under the Processed tab. And anything filed there, you'd be able to click on it and go through all the steps that you submitted. All right, thank you all for taking the time to join us for this demonstration. Thank you, Mike, for setting this up, and Tyler for driving. Thanks, Steve, for answering some questions. We're looking forward to this new rollout, and we hope that you find the new system easy to navigate and helpful to find information that you need. If you have any last questions, feel free to type them in. And I'm going to send it back to Mike for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Rachel. Very nicely done. We would like to invite our audience to send in any questions that you might have. Just use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type those in. We will allow you a few minutes here to do that before we end. But while we're waiting, I'd like to take this opportunity to look at the Maine Tax Portal information page, which contains a whole wealth of information that you'll find helpful. Right now, we're at the Maine Revenue Services homepage, and the address to get here is maine.gov/revenue. So maine.gov/revenue. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down the page, and we'll see that heading, Important Updates, at the bottom. And the third link from the top where it says Important Information about the Maine Tax Portal, we're going to click that link. And by clicking it, it will bring us directly to the Maine Tax Portal information page. If anyone would like to bypass the MRS homepage and just simply come here, you can type into your address bar maine.gov/revenue/portal. And that's what we see here. So let's take a look. We'll see on your screen, just below the blue bar there, a listing of all of the taxes that are currently active in the Maine Tax Portal. And of course, as we're approaching Rollout 3 on October 10th, we will see that list become much larger with yet another group of taxes that will be introduced. And then right underneath that list, you'll see a group of blue buttons. Just to explain those, the first one is the Maine Tax Portal login button. So for your convenience, if you happen to be on the Maine Tax Portal information page and would like to jump over to the portal itself so that you can do any logged in or non-logged in activities, you can simply click and it will bring you right there. The next button are FAQs. We'll take a click and look at our FAQs. So FAQs are made up of questions from prior training webinar attendees like yourselves, questions that have been organized so they're easy to find and you can read through them. It's a great way to learn about the portal. So if anyone has questions in your mind in general about the portal that you haven't asked yet, there's an opportunity to look through here and just see if you might find the information you need. So that is the FAQ button. We're going to click back now and back to the main page. So we'll see that third button, instructional videos. Let's give that a look. Instructional videos are yet another way to learn about the portal. These are all organized into groups, and there's a variety of topics, short videos that you can watch that demonstrate different features and functions of the Maine tax portal. So it's a great way to get started and have somebody show you. If you've not attended any of the training webinars, this is yet another way to learn. I do want to point out one video in particular. If we look at the Getting Started section at the top, you'll see the second link down is setting up a third-party account. So if we have anyone in the audience that is a practitioner or works with a practitioner and you're interested in setting up third-party access, that video would be a great place to start because it does explain the process of how that works. It's very easy to set up third-party access. It does require steps to be taken on both the taxpayer side and the practitioner side, where once the steps have been completed, then that link can be established and the third party can view a client's Maine tax portal information. So again, that video would be very helpful. We encourage you to check that out. We also will go back now to the main page and we'll take a look at the rollout chart. So there's 4 blue boxes there. It depicts each of the taxes being introduced in each phase or each rollout of the Maine tax portal. And as we are coming up on rollout 3 in October, as we hover over rollout 3, you'll see the extensive list of taxes that will be brought in, including the municipal valuation return listed there. So, which is why you're here. And then you can always look ahead if you're interested in rollout 4, which would be the final phase of the Maine tax portal brought into production in October of 2024. So that information is there for you. At the bottom of the page, the olive green colored buttons. So that is all about webinar training. That's how you got here today. If you're interested in attending additional sessions, and feel free to sign up. Please feel free to attend a session again if you'd like to repeat it, or if you'd like to try something different. We encourage you to take full advantage of the free webinar training. We also have webinar recordings. So in the prior rollouts, rollout 1 and 2, we had a series of training webinars on those tax types, and all of those webinars in their entirety are listed there, so you can click on them and watch those videos. So that's yet another way to learn about the Maine tax portal. And once we're done the rollout 3 video series, the videos from this fall will be posted there as well. So you'll be able to go back and watch these. And speaking of course, the recording from today, everyone will be getting access to that, which I'll explain here as we close out here shortly. So that is a good overview of this page, except if you have questions beyond the questions that you've asked here today and you think of something else that you wish you had asked, our contact information is listed there. We encourage you to email us or call us. Our email address is listed right underneath the blue bars, the blue boxes there. So taxpayerassist@maine.gov. I'll give that to you one more time, taxpayerassist@maine.gov. And then our telephone number, 207-624-9784. One more time, 207-624-9784. All right, I'm going to go kind of close out of this, and we'll have Rachel come back and see if there's any questions that we have from the audience that you'd like to ask Rachel. We'll pause here for just a minute.
There were a few questions that came in while you were making your closing remarks, and some that I just want to go over. The invitation letter that the municipalities will get will be it'll be shortly after rollout. They'll be going out. They will have the account number on there, and they'll be going out to the address that we have on file for the municipality. I don't believe they will be addressed to anyone in particular. I don't believe it's going to have an attention to line. So if you work in a municipality, be on the lookout for it.
Any additional questions from anybody? Rachel is ready to answer your questions.
There was another question that came in as well about the next webinar for this particular webinar. If you have an assessor that wasn't able to attend today, and that's Monday, October 2nd at 10 a.m. And you can have them sign up on the website that Mike mentioned earlier. Okay. All right. Okay. And someone asked, will there still be an option to paper report? And there will be an option, yes. The Maine tax portal adds some functionality for you guys that we think will be helpful, but we will have a specific PDF version that you can download and fill out. I know there are some municipalities that aren't able to send it in electronically, so you could write it out or you can type it out on the PDF version and mail that in. The Maine tax portal version will be it will be easier to view later and to avoid errors. But yes, there will be a paper option as well.
All right. Any additional questions? All right. Well, let's go ahead and prepare to close out our webinar today. So in closing, we hope you've thoroughly enjoyed the Maine Tax Portal webinar. I would like to thank Rachel and Tyler and Tabitha and Stephen for helping out today, and to all of our attendees for your time today. You took the time out to learn about the Maine Tax Portal, and that's great, and we appreciate that. As a reminder, today's webinar has been recorded. It can be viewed by anyone who's registered who may have missed a portion of today's program for any reason and would just like to review it again. Tomorrow morning, all of the registrants will receive an email with a link to the Zoom site where you can view the recording. And if anyone does have a question, even after the session is done, you can still reach out to us. So let's recap a few of those important points that we discussed today. The Maine Tax Portal is now open for most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and as you can see, a whole bunch more. The Municipal Valuation Return will become live on October 10th, 2023, and you can visit the MTP information page to learn when you can get started for your specific tax type. That address, one more time, is maine.gov/revenue/portal. And if anyone has a question about the Maine Tax Portal, you can email us or call us. Our email address is taxpayerassist@maine.gov, taxpayerassist@maine.gov, and our telephone number is 207-624-9666. 9784. 207-624-9784. We will now conclude our webinar. Thank you again, and we wish all of you a great rest of your day.